welcome Inga Beale to the University of the West of England here in Bristol. So you are the most powerful woman in an insurance business as CEO of Lloyds of London. Yes.
Yes.
First female CEO and made a dame last year. Explain to me the scale of Lloyds.
Yeah, well, Lloyds is a market, so we're not a company, and that makes us a little bit more difficult to understand. We've got about 60 different businesses in the market, and they run between them about 80 different syndicates, and each syndicate writes insurance from all over the world. All types of specialist insurance, from doing the latest drone insurance to all the airlines that fly around the world, to insuring big catastrophes that happen anywhere in the world. And Lloyds has revenues of about £30 billion for the market. The business comes from about 200 different countries and territories, most of it coming from the US. So the US accounts for over 40% of what Lloyds does, and that's really down to the history of Lloyds, because we were part of the Industrial Revolution. We were like enabling human progress, and so every time something new was invented, the first motor car, we insured it. The first aeroplane that took off, we insured it. The first satellite that went up, we insured it. So we think of ourselves as sort of enabling human progress, and because a lot of that progress was in the US, that's why the US is now such a big market for us. But we've gone much more global since then, and we do business all over the world.
So do you still see yourselves as ensuring human progress and actually, you know, being the insurers of the first whatever it is? What's your biggest kind of challenge at the moment? What's the thing that everybody wants insurance for?
Well, it's what the impact of the impact that technology is having on all the businesses. So, and actually all our lives, right? Technology is all around us, and technology is changing every single business's model, and what is happening is that every business is now susceptible to some cyber threat, some cyber attack, and it's thought of now by many CEOs as the biggest single threat to their business. So we offer cyber insurance. We will pay if somebody's been attacked. We'll pay for all sorts of mitigating actions that they have to pay for, putting their systems back together, recompensing customers, all types of coverage. And that's our single fastest growing product at the moment, is cyber insurance.
How amazing, how amazing. Now, insurance, financial services have a reputation as being a bit macho and a bit roughy-tufty and quite difficult to carve a career if you're female. You've proved all that wrong, and that's been a big passion of yours, hasn't it, in actually changing the culture. Why has that been so important, and what are you most pleased with in the things that you've done?
Well, when I started work in the 80s, I was rather unique, only I didn't like being unique. I was a female in a very male-dominated environment in the financial heart of the City of London, and I wanted to belong, so I behaved like a man. And of course what happens is that sort of eats away at you, because it's not the authentic you. And after some years of working in the city, about 8 years, I decided I couldn't work there anymore, and I actually left. And then I was inspired by a woman. I went travelling, and I was inspired by a woman who was running the BBC's office in Sydney, actually, and I was so amazed that there was a woman at the helm, because I wasn't used to that at all. And particularly I was inspired because the people in the office respected her for being the manager and didn't even refer to her gender. And I thought, wow, you can really do things if you're a woman. So I came back to the UK after a year and said, I can do this. And that was what made me sort of change my attitude and said, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to try and be something I'm not. And I don't want other women to sort of suffer or keep themselves back like I think I did, and that's why I want to try and change the culture and really empower women in business.
But you still have to be quite brave, don't you, to talk about your gender or your sexuality or, you know, whatever it is really. And do you think you've been brave, or would you categorise yourself as brave, or? I
think I'm being brave now. But it took me several decades, or a couple of decades, I would say, before I had the courage to start talking about these things. I didn't dare talk about the difference between men and women at work. I didn't have the courage many years ago. And when I was then in a relationship, a same-sex relationship with a woman, I didn't have the courage to mention that at work. So it's really relatively recently when I've got to senior positions that I felt I've had the confidence to do it. And now I want to give others that confidence much earlier. I don't want people, if they're from the LGBT community, I don't want them to feel they've got to be in the closet at work, because I know how I suffered through those years. And I want to open up the world for everybody and really work on this equality for all and inclusion.
So what would you say to our students then? We've got lots of young people here studying accountancy, studying finance, studying law, that might go into traditional big business. What would you say to them about finding the resilience? I mean, we do a lot of work in the university about equality with all sorts of different communities. We've got a very strong strategic direction about inclusion and diversity, but very often it comes down to you as an individual. And so what would you say to those young people about how they will enter the world of work?
I would always seek support in other like-minded people. So the important thing for me is you've got to encourage diverse teams, and we know they're the most successful. They're the most innovative and they're the most successful. The facts speak for themselves. But you also need, as you go through your career, you need the safety and that help of other like-minded people. So I have had amazing support. Whenever things have got tough, I've had a group of women to go to, and I've also had a group of the LGBT community that I've been able to go to, and I can share my experiences and they completely get it, and then we have tips and ideas and we give each other strength. And there are also other things. Make sure you've got a mentor, a sponsor, somebody who can really help you navigate through your professional life. But we need diversity, but at the same time you can seek that support from like-minded people.
That's a really good advice. And what about some advice about de-risking their own careers to the threat of automation or AI? Some of these very traditional careers which won't be around in the next decade. What do you think they should be looking out for in terms of making themselves employable?
Yeah, well, I think you've got to be very open-minded and take on new challenges, and don't be too fixed in your ideas. I mean, when I started work 36 years ago now, I had no idea what I'd be doing in 36 years' time, no idea. And that was as true, it's as true today as it was then. And you don't get worried that you have to plan out your career to the nth degree, you don't. It's important that you take opportunities that come along, and almost the more scary the opportunity sounds, the more you'll get out of it if you take it. So the most scariest opportunities that I took along the way, moving countries, taking on a CEO role in a strange country and having to do a turnaround of a broken company, that was the most scariest thing I'd ever taken on. And yet I got the most satisfaction out of it, and it then led on to the next amazing opportunity. So there are just all sorts of things, but in the new world, jobs will be very different in 30 years' time. But the job I did 30 years ago is very different today. Jobs have always been evolving, and there'll just be new jobs. And if you're open and you're happy to reskill, never stop learning, and just take every opportunity that comes along.
So when next for you?
Oh, I've never really been good at planning. And I can plan at work big time, but for myself, I don't. And I'm a strong believer in things aligning, and the right thing will come along at the right time. And quite honestly, I've still got work to do at Lloyds. We've got a modernising programme to do where we're going from paper to digital, and we've still got the culture change journey and trying to get a better balance gender-wise in the Lloyds market.
So some work to do yet.
Yeah, bit of a way to go.
Very lovely to talk to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.